All right, everybody. Hey, how you doing? So this is a webinar on, we did one last month on Microsoft Office 365. And the whole intention was it was supposed to be this like whole big crazy overview of like a crash course and going real deep into things. Because, you know, it's not just learning about Microsoft 365, but there's all sorts of cool stuff in Word and Excel that I wanted to kind of go over with our attorney audience. And it was so deep and so detailed that we thought it might make a lot of sense to split this out into individual webinars. And so that's what we've done. So we're going to start with Word, and there's a lot of material here, and there's and we're document professionals on this phone call. So we expect a lot of good questions, and we want you to bring a lot of your thoughts and ideas. So let's make this as interactive as possible. So I'm Larry Port. I run Rocketmatter. I founded Rocketmatter back in 2007. That's like eons ago at this point. And I also co-founded LexCharge. So Rocketmatter is the practice management application, and LexCharge is the payment processing thing. So you charge your credit cards with it and so on and so forth. And across the years, I've worked with thousands of attorneys, literally thousands of attorneys, and I've seen how they manage their practice and so on and so forth. So I know a lot about, I don't know anything about the law really, aside from what I've seen on television, but I do know a lot about the business of law because I've seen how law firms operate. And I'm an approachable person. You can email me, larry.port@rocketmatter.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn, but I'll probably ignore you because LinkedIn's getting pretty spammy. So Lisa, you're on the call, right? Lisa is our director of marketing with Rocketmatter. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm good, Larry. How are you?
Not bad. So Lisa, Lisa's going to be manning the chat widget and also the QA widget. And so we want you guys to ask questions, and we want you to make it as interactive as possible. And so I'm going to ask you guys, right? So like, I want to make this a little bit of a, you know, I want you to give me some feedback. This is live, so this is not recorded as of right now. The people in the future, this is a recording, but right now that's not a recording. So it's February 25th, and I want to ask everybody, like let's. I have a curriculum here, but I want to know, like, what do you want me to focus on specifically? Like, and this is you may not get your wish here, but people can vote. And, you know, the more people that vote for certain topics, maybe we can spend a little bit more time on those topics. So I put like the basics, and the basics, I guess, is that's a bad term, because what might be basic for somebody might be advanced for somebody else, or vice versa. Creating templates, styles, and consistent formatting. That seemed to be like when we did if any of you guys were on the webinar last time, that seemed to be a big topic of interest. Mail merge, document assembly. Let's see. Somebody wants me to resend them the poll. I cannot do that. Sorry. Track changes, working with image, or other. And then just put it right in the chat widget what you're kind of interested in. So that would be lovely. Lovely, lovely. All right. Let's see what people are saying here. Okay. So there's a clear winner. I mean, it looks like styles and consistent formatting and creating templates, and those go hand in hand, because once you create the styles, then you can use templates that you use over and over and over again. All right. Wunderbar. All right. So let's just kind of like dive right into it, and please, let's make this as interactive as possible. And I have the chat widget up here too, right? There is going to be CLE credit for it. So somebody asked that. And by the way, if somebody has a broken document, like if you're interested in having me see if I can fix the document live on air, like if you have like really bad formatting and screwed up stuff, send the email, not to my work address, because I don't want to get into my work address on this email, but send the email to this right here. Okay. So this is going to be my personal email. So send it to lportx@gmail.com. Okay. And that'll go to like an inbox that I can go and then retrieve. And then we can maybe see if it's broken or not. All right. You might want to hide stuff, right? Obviously, if it has client confidential information in it, or so on and so forth. Okay. This whole journey, not to belabor, but I do a lot of like podcasting, and I do a lot of like writing. So I wrote this book about systems thinking. It's called The Lean Law Firm. So if you want to learn a little bit more than expand the horizons of Word and like actually how to run your business, take a look at what I've done with The Lean Law Firm. Lisa, a lot of these designs you've seen here were designed by Lisa, who is here. She's our director of marketing, and we've do a ton of infographics and ebooks, a lot of resources on Rocketmatter to help you run your practice. And we're giving away this epic tea light. So you like light it up and like cats glow out of it. So it's worth like $25. So if you pay attention to this webinar and you participate, at the end, we're going to choose a participant who's been interacting with us, and it's going to be awesome. And somebody's going to get to win this thing. And then also I'll be giving away, I have like these credits for the Lean Law Firm audiobook. So if you want to listen to it, I'm going to raffle off one of those, and then you can have fun with that. And then I'll talk a little bit about this promotion that we're doing for Rocketmatter later. Okay. So here's this situation. Like, for those of you that might have just like finished law school recently, you're kind of entering this world that for the rest of us, it hasn't been like this. You used to have to spend like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for like your word processing thing. And now it's kind of changed the game. So what Microsoft has kind of done is kind of what, like, you know, Rocketmatter does in terms of like subscription servicing. So, you know, you basically pay a certain amount of dollars a month, and then you have access to Word and Excel and so on and so forth. And they have these different tiers, as you can see on my screen. And you want to kind of stay more towards the middle. You don't need to go all the way towards the end. You kind of want to be in the middle, right? So you know, these kind of services are probably the ones that you want. The premium apps are probably good enough for people. So again, you probably want the $12.50 point tier, or you need the $20 tier. There's a lot of stuff in here that you don't need, is like a little overkill for like the small law firm. So you're probably good at the $12.50 a month tier. Okay. Lisa, just check in. Everybody can see my screen, make sure everything's like copacetic and so on and so forth. Okay, we're good. Now, it's not just Microsoft 365, and it used to be called Office 365. They rebranded it last year. So there's all sorts of other things in it aside from Word. You can kind of see on my screen that, you know, you have Word down here, you see PowerPoint, you see Excel. Like when you think of Office 365 or Microsoft 365, those are the things you think of. But there is so much in this stuff that you get along with your subscription. So we're talking about Word here, and I don't want to go too far down this path. But the reason I bring this up is because there's a lot of stuff in here that you might be paying for that you can take advantage of, like a to-do list application, like Teams, which allows you to communicate. It's like Zoom and so on and so forth, like SharePoint, and obviously all these other things. And it really is huge. So I would just talk, I would just explore that and so on and so forth. And I'd love to hear, by the way, if there's an attorney in this audience that's using something like Delve or Stream or Sway or some of these like funkier, newer applications, because I don't even know what they do. Now, let's dive right into Word. And we have almost a full hour, right? So we can talk about a lot of different stuff. And I am a software engineer, is one thing I want you to know. So the way I approach like a software application the same way that you might approach or appreciate something else in the law. Like when I'm using Word, I'm using it and I'm thinking of it like, okay, well, why did they design it this way? Why did they design it that way? How are they trying to communicate how to use a certain feature? And you got to remember that. You got to remember that when you're using software, the people who are designing the software are trying to make it easy for you to use. They're not trying to make it hard for you to use. They are trying to make it consumable. They're trying to improve their user experience, and also they've designed it the way that they conceive of things, which is fairly analytical and fairly engineering wise. All right, so the first thing is that let me ask you guys this question too, because I think it would help me to know what platform you're using. Let's do this. Let me ask you guys this. Tell me about your setup. Are you guys on Mac or a PC, or are you using the browser-based version of Microsoft Office? We don't have to leave this one up for very long. Because and here's another thing to know. If there's Google Docs fans out there, are there any Google Docs fans out there? You're probably used to using Google Docs in a browser. And what's interesting is that Microsoft has actually built Word in a browser so that if you do want to like use it in the browser, you can. So it's pretty powerful. Not surprisingly, people are using Macs, PCs, and a browser. Now, the thing about the browser that I do want to point out is that if, Chromebooks can be like less than $500, and you can use Microsoft Office 365 and Word and Excel and all those things on a Chromebook because they're browser-based computers. So that's a little exciting. All right. Now let's kind of get into the meat of the stuff here. I'm going to show you, I am on a PC, right? Or, I'm sorry, I'm on a Macintosh right now. I'm on a MacBook Pro. But right now, this is a screenshot of, I have a Surface as well. Surface is right here, but I don't want to like bother like toggling back and forth between my computer here and my Surface. I'm going to make you nutty if I do that. So what I did was I took a screenshot of what Word looks like in the PC just to kind of show you that in general, it's pretty much the same, because I'm going to be showing this in a Mac, and I don't want people getting confused if, oh, well, this is Word on a Mac versus Word on a PC. They're pretty similar. So for example, let's go over to Word here, and I have a little document open. And okay, great. I'll close this for now. So if you look, it looks very similar. You have basically the same kind of menu items over here. You have a lot of formatting, characters in this region. You have styles, which is this big thing, which I guess is a bit of a mystery to a lot of people. And then we have this thing called the styles pane over here, right? So if we look over back again at the at my slide where I had the screenshot, it's very similar layout. You had the formatting characters, you had the menu items across the top, you had the style pane and these different styles in here. And we'll get into what these things are, and then a more specific list over here. So, hey, by the way, Lisa, can you pull the audience and ask if anybody sent a broken document to lportx@gmail.com, just so I know to look out for that at a certain point during the demonstration?
Sure. If you do send a document, make sure to send it in the chat. This way I could let Larry know whether you sent something to him.
Oh yeah, that would help. So, okay. So by the way, this is my favorite feature as I get older in Word. My favorite feature is down here on the right-hand side is the zoom feature. And what that allows me to do is to zoom into the document and zoom out of the document. Okay. So, and by the way, if some of you guys are rolling your eyes right now, just we have we have like 700 people on this webinar, so we got all sorts of different ability levels. So we kind of I'm gonna show some things that might be like super basic for other people, and for other people is like, oh, that's amazing. Okay, I want to go over like the general setup of a document, because I want us to be thinking, I want us to be Bob Ross here. I want us to be thinking like, okay, we are going to use this thing like a tool, like the document professionals we are, right? So let's take a look, shall we, at the things we ignore every single day. I have on the screen a little document, and actually this paragraph comes from LegalFuel, which, the Florida Bars Resource Center. So it comes from a document they have. So I just wanted a paragraph to work with. And it's just a general paragraph. I happen to be using my favorite font, which is Helvetica Neue, and so on and so forth. It's a traditional size thing. So there's these elements. All right. So we have elements at the top that help us control our margins and our indentation. And so there's three things here. And I want to take a second just to show you what they do, because everybody's always dragging these things back and forth and they have no idea what they do. Okay. And again, apologies in advance if this is super basic for you, but okay. Up here, this little triangle thingy, this is the first line indentation. So if I pull the triangle thingy and I move it over right here, it's only going to indent the first line. Okay. These all do different things. Now, if I go to the under thing, this one is called the left margin, and this affects things that are not the first line. So if I take that and I pull this over, then it's going to take not the first line, but everything else, right? By the way, somebody named Sharon said that, can you make the screen of the document bigger and the video of himself smaller to see it better? You can do that on your own thing. By the way, the triangle thingy is a technical term, and the if you need to make me smaller, you should be able to drag my image smaller, and that will make everything else bigger. Okay. All right, so we have indentations and we have like margins and so on and so forth. But then there's also this third thing, which is not a triangle thingy. This is a rectangle thingy. And this just, if I take this, it takes both pieces together. All right. Now, the reason I'm showing something so fundamentally is because it's so fundamental is because I think it is worth taking a second and stop dragging stuff around. Like it is really important to take a second and just like stop messing with stuff and like really stop and think about what it is that we're doing and what we're working on. It's worth the like 30-second investment when you're investigating Word to get it right the first time. So, okay, let's move this back. Now, the second thing I want to show you in terms of just general toolbar functions is probably the most important thing that will help you diagnose a broken document or one that you cannot find, right? Okay, so this little thing, which is the show hide invisible symbol thing, right? So I'm going to click this button, and all of a sudden I get these little blue characters on my screen. And look, we're document professionals, a lot of English people, all of, you know, like English majors and so on and so forth. We remember this thing from when we were proofreading, right? Now, what this does is it, like, you see these little dots in here, and these little dots represent spaces. So if I like go click, 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 you see that I have like 4 spaces in there. Okay, and then at the end of the paragraph, you see that I have a paragraph, like kind of a carriage return there. So if I hit the enter button, I get another one of those little things. And somebody asked, what button did I press to do that? All right, so you ready? It's this one right here on the screen. This one right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like a backwards P, but it's like a paragraph button. It looks like a proofread symbol from like when you were in high school. So it's a toggle, which means that if I hit it, the things show up. If I hit it again, the things disappear, right? It is a little hard to see. You know, the buttons are a little small, but this is very, very critical because I'm going to show you, here's what people do. All right, tell me if you've done this before. All right, you're working on this document. Oh, you're on this one page. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can have kind of like a better view of things, right? All right, so font's a little small, bear with me. But what I'm gonna do is I want another page. So this is the wrong way to do things, okay? The wrong way to do things is to hit carriage returns until you have another piece of paper or another page right here. And then you write, this is my second page. Okay, so this is how a lot of people do. This is how a lot of people do a second page, right? This is not the way you want to do this. This is completely wrong. And the reason is because there's a right way to do things, and then when you start using the right way to do things, then you get like really hung up on these things. The right way to do things. Let's get rid of all these things. And by the way, if I can't see these things, but I can delete them. Because what I can do is I can click this button again and I can toggle the invisible characters, and they're called invisible characters. And that's a technical term, much better than the triangle thingy. And what I can do is I can actually highlight those the same way I can do, and let me make that bigger just so you can see. I can highlight those the same way I can do that with like ordinary text, and I can delete them, right? Now, the better way to add something to my second page is what? It's to insert a break. So unfortunately, we got to go into here and we have to look at the big nasty menu, and we're going to put insert break, page break. All right, now we kind of, we've achieved what we did before, but in the way that Microsoft wants us to do that, okay? So, so this is how Microsoft wants us to insert a new page because it's just the cleanest way to do things. And check this out. What happens now if I look at my invisible characters? Oh, okay, so I have something a lot more explicit than I did before. It actually tells me that I have a page break, right? Okay, so what I can do is the same way that I can delete those like little carriage returns in here, I can delete that page break as well. I can just highlight it, delete it, and the thing comes back, right? Somebody's asking me if I can make my mouse larger. Let me see if I can. I have a special program that may help us. Okay. Okay, so I think now if I hit control, if I do this, then you can see where my cursor is. Is that better? I think that's better. Okay. Yeah, let's use this. Okay. All right. Okay, so where was I? All right, so we showed how we used invisible characters. And so this is going to be, the reason that that's important is because when you have a broken document, then you're going to want to toggle these things, these invisible characters, and they're going to show you like usually where the problem is going to be, right? Okay. Let's keep going. Let's go into styles now. And let me toggle this for a second. All right. So styles is, now that we kind of have like given like a little bit of an overview of like the general layout of Word, what I want to do is kind of go into this like standardized way of presenting information. And this is just a more methodical way of doing things so that as you start working with larger and larger documents, they don't become unwieldy. One of the problems that you've probably encountered is that as time has gone on, and you've worked on a document, let's say it's like 80 pages or 100 pages, and it goes back and forth with different people. So many people have been touching it that it just kind of gets like, I don't want to say ruined, but it just becomes such a bunch of mess that you can't really work with it. So one of the reasons that is because you do things like this. So let me just add a couple paragraphs here. All right. This is the same text, but I'm just trying to simulate text. And what you do over here is in this paragraph, you make this one, you go and you manually, I'm going to need to highlight my cursor. So what you do is you highlight this text and then you manually change the font. I'm going to change it to Times New Roman, and I'm going to change it to 14-point font. Right. And then let's make it so if you saw that, all I was doing there was just changing the time. But this is typically how people adjust the fonts is in the left hand side. Right. So instead, there's a better way of doing this. Right. The better way of doing this is to come up with the notion of a style, which is basically like clothing for your text. That's the best way I can describe a style. And it kind of sounds like clothing for your text, okay? And the styles are up here. These are the default styles that are defined. And styles are defined globally across Word, but they can be defined on a template by template basis. That means that I can define a template for my law firm where everything is going to be formatted a certain way. So case in point, before the webinar, somebody wrote in and they said that their default style that they want was Times New Roman 14-point font, double spaced. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a style based on that. And we're going to create a template based on that. And you're going to see how to work. And you're going to see how you can change other text to it based on that style. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do here is this little widget up here is called like, these are all of my different styles. Down here, you see when I click Styles pane, it clicks the styles, it clicks this right here. And on a Macintosh, this button that says Styles pane is a lot more explicit than it is on a PC. So on a PC, if we go back over here, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is the styles pane. Remember, these are the same styles bar like you have before. And you have this, what you have to do is you have to hit this tiny little button right there that has the triangle in it or kind of an arrow in it. And that pulls up the styles pane. So for some reason, even though like Microsoft is like made Windows, they make it easy. They make it a little bit easier on a Mac to access the styles pane. So, all right, so here we are. I'm going to create a new style. And let's call this, let me get rid of my highlighting here, not to distract you. I'm going to call this CLE style. style 1. And I'm going to say, okay. All right. Now, if you look, Word has added a new style up here. It says CLE style 1. You see that? Okay. All right. So all we've done is give our style a name. All right. Now, let's do this. Now, are you guys still with me? Some people are saying that this is like over their head. So I'm really trying to break this down because really what we're talking about is just like decorating the text. Remember, we're decorating the text. We're putting clothes on it. All right. So what I'm going to do is if when I click on a style, it's going to open it over here in the styles pane, right? You see that right there? And what I want to do is I want to go to modify style. This is one way to do it. Okay. This is like we are in a very special place right now. We have defined a style and we're about to modify it. All right. So what I'm going to do is the style is going to be based on Times New Roman. I can choose any font. I can make it American typewriter. I'm just going to do Times New Roman. I'm going to make it 14-point font. And then what I can do is I can do all these crazy, this is going to, these little buttons in here help me increase paragraph spacing. And this is Word does paragraph spacing in 2 ways, right? You can do like, there's spacing between lines and then there's spacing after paragraphs. So you have to kind of like make, you have to kind of like get used to some of those ideas. And then, so you can like increase these kind of things before and after paragraphs. You can decrease that like I just showed you. This is if we want to do double spacing, which is what, when somebody wrote to us before the webinar, they asked specifically for Times New Roman 14-point font with double spacing. So I'm just going to honor that. So now I've created a style that has those properties, and I can even go further if I really want to. And I don't want to confuse you right now. So let's just start with that. All right. Okay. So now what happened? The text that I had right here changed to that style. All right. Somebody asked, where was the modify style function? Let me show you. In the style pane, if you see it right here, there's a bunch of different ways to get to it, but one way you can get to it is here. You can go, let me highlight. You can go to the style pane, right? And a drop-down list will occur, and you can go to modify style, and that's what brings up the super powerful Uber menu. Other way to do it is you can go over to the style here, which is in this like little tray, and you can right-click and you can click modify, and it's going to take you to the same place, right? Okay. Let's continue. All right. Here's why this is interesting is that if let's say that I want to highlight this text right now and I want to change its style. So I highlight it, and then all I do is I click on the style up here and it changes it to what I just did. Voila. I don't have to go up and I don't have to select Times New Roman, 14-point font and stuff. That's why I'm saying it's like kind of putting clothes on it, right? Somebody said, why didn't it modify the entire page? It didn't modify the entire page because I didn't select the entire page. It's only going to modify what you select. So styles get applied to the text that you select, right? Somebody asked, can you define a default style? That's a good question. I think the default style is by default normal, which is here, and then what you can do is you can change normal, but I don't know. I haven't really defined a default style for any of the templates that I use. And I push this stuff pretty hard usually. Watch what I do though. So let's do this again, because somebody said, why didn't it apply to the whole page? I'm only going to select this first paragraph, and now I'm going to apply the normal style. So it went back, right? I click CLE style 1. It goes to this one that the lady wanted before the CLE webinar. I click normal. It goes back and forth. So it makes it real easy, right? Now, when this becomes powerful is when you start combining it with like multiple different types of styles. Somebody said, didn't I select the entire page earlier? No. If I did select the entire page and I click the style, then the entire page would be applied, right? Now, okay, we're still on styles. So let's keep pushing this a little bit, because the real power here is when you start combining it with like titles and so on and so forth. So let's say plaintiff, I'm sorry, plain versus defendant. Okay. Now I have a style here. Okay. I have one called title. And that's what happens whenever I click it, right? So what I'm going to do is I want to modify this style, and let's just modify it to something that I like. Anybody who call it out. What font do you want? What size do you want? I'll put it in here for the style, and we'll make this, but make sure it's a good, like, kind of like title font, and then we'll make it happen. Okay. Oh, we got we got two votes for Arial right out of the bat. All right. And let's make it 16. Okay. Oh, somebody, Bookman, I hear you loud and clear, man. I'm sorry. Okay. Here's the other thing. I can center it. A style can be centered, right? So how cool is that? And then if we really wanted to, we can go like really deep into this. Like we can go and we can pick bullets, numbering, like you can completely change how you want. Like if you want to have a bulleted list where every time you have a bulleted list, it has the letter G for your bullet, you can do that. It's super, super powerful. Oh, people want borders. Everybody's getting crazy. All right. No, let's not do the borders. Okay. So now there's that. And let's say that I have another section in here. This is another title. So right now it's currently on the CLE style 1, but if I highlight this and I click title, it's going to honor what I just defined. So anyhow, I think this is a pretty good overview of styles, right? Now, what if I want to preserve these for the future? And what if I want to, and somebody said like something really not nice about the coworkers. I got to be honest. Somebody said, what do I do with all the people that are using all these nasty styles and templates? Listen, man, I can't solve that problem. I mean, all I can tell you is how to do this kind of stuff. And you can create a template and you can circulate it inside your law firm, and then people can use that. But that's like a personnel issue. So, which is maybe should be another webinar that we do, Lisa, which is like how to get people on staff to use the styles that you define in Microsoft Word 365. Okay, so let me stop highlighting. Oh, actually, I'm going to need the cursor for this one. You're going to need to see this. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to go to File, Save As Template. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a template or a document that I'm going to be able to refer to in the future, so that every time I create it, I'm going to have those styles that I just defined. So perfect. So I'm going to call this CLE sample template. And then what we're going to do is we're going to distribute this document to you guys going forward so that you can take a look at it. I'm going to click save. All right. I'm going to close it out now because I don't want to keep working on the template. So now let's go to new. I'm going to do new from template. You see this up here? Instead of just new document where I get a blank document, that's not what I want. I'm going to close this out. I want to do new from template. And I have all sorts of crazy things in here. I can show you some of them. But this is the CLE sample template that we just made. And I'm going to click create. And what do we have? We have CLE style 1 in there, and we have the title thing that we overviewed in there too, right? So somebody said, so if you have an agreement with formatting you like, can you make that a template? Yeah, absolutely. What you do is you can go and one of the things that you can do with a style is let's say that this is the agreement that you like, okay? And you want to use this to base your template. What you can do is you can highlight the text you like, and you can go to something like normal or another style, and you can say update normal to match selection. Okay. So what that does is it redefines normal or any of the other styles to match what you've selected. So it's going to adhere to the typography, the sizing, the centering, the justification, all those kind of things. So it'll just take care of that for you. So it's very slick, very, very nice. Okay. And let's just see if I can show you this. I knew from template, like I go crazy with this stuff. So I have this thing. Let's see. I mean, you guys are going to think I'm nuts. Okay. So I define my own fonts. So so this is based on my handwriting, and it's called Larry's handwriting. I mean, this is as nerdy as it gets, guys. But if you've seen, I have a style for date. I have a style. This is a bullet journal entry. So I've designed my own bullet journal in Word. So I have entries. These are bulleted lists for gratitude entries, for accomplishments, and so on and so forth. So like this is a template. So like whenever I write, this is how I write my journal. I like fire up this template and I write it in Word, and it's based on all this kind of stuff. So I'm a little bit of a nut when it comes to styles and templates and so on and so forth. Okay. But that's just showing you what happens in extreme cases when madmen get control of Word. Now, let's keep going. Okay, so we talked about styles and we talked about templates, and we're going to talk a little bit about practice management and mail merge. All right, I'm going to show you how kind of these all things fit together, right? Somebody said, is there a quick way to add a page number at the bottom in the middle of a page without having to go through drop down, over, scroll down, customize the ribbon, all that kind of stuff? Usually page numbers are done with headers and footers. Are you guys familiar with headers and footers? If not, it might be worth showing, just because it can be confusing to people, because people can get lost in the work. Okay. So a lot of people are familiar with headers and footers. We should probably leave that one alone. If you're not familiar with them, that's probably the best way to do paging. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. All right, let's talk a little bit about mail merge. Mail merge is pretty powerful. In fact, mail merge enables all sorts of automation in a law firm that allows you to do things that save you oodles and oodles of time. And it can be everything from like printing out your Christmas letters to like actually creating documents. So let's take a look and see what it kind of looks like. And it always it always kind of freaks people out, because I mean, it is advanced functionality, and I don't know that like it's the cleanest design in Word to let people leverage the functionality. It does work and it is powerful, but with that power kind of comes, like, I'm not going to say great responsibility. It just is. It's just not the easiest thing to use. So before I get into this, Lisa, are there any questions that I should address?
There's been a few questions actually about page numbers too. One of the questions was interesting. It was, how do I share templates to other people in my office?
That's a good question. So let's think about that, Lise, because the way that it works is there's a specific place that Microsoft Word goes to store those templates. Right.
My thought is that if you, this would probably be the easiest way. I actually used to work for Apple for 7 years before I joined Rocketmatter. So if you were to create a template and save it as a Word document, you can then share that Word document with the rest of your office. When they open it and they don't touch it, so they've preserved the formatting that you've created, they then have the opportunity to go to File and then save as a template from their computer. So that would probably be the best way to do it.
That is definitely the easiest way to do that. Okay, so I don't know if you guys were following along, but the whole idea is that, and sorry, I'm moving down my stand down, sit down, this desk that goes in both directions. So the idea is you get the template, you email it to everybody, you share it however you want to share it, and then people, when they open it, they do File, Save As, Template. So that makes good. Somebody's saying something about saving as an organizational template, which is, I'm sure there's like enterprisey ways to do it that are like, best practices, but that's a good way of doing it. Somebody said, or you can just do a screenshot of your screen to share the formatting. No, that won't work because you're not enforcing the rules. Sharing a screenshot of your formatting really is only just showing people what to do. It's not giving them the tools to be able to do it. The power of the templates and the power of the styles is that it enforces that rigid structure every time somebody creates a document, so people aren't doing things their own way. Okay. Let's, I have a couple documents here. I have a fee agreement, and I have, this one's not going to help us. So let's start with the fee agreement, because there's a couple of funny looking fields in here. And you see one in here, and it's got these like two squiggle lines around it, and it says matter.custom.billing frequency and matter.custom.quoted fee. Those are specific fields in this document that are called mail merge fields. And I can add these if I can add additional ones if I want to here. People are saying to dumb this down because the technological terms I'm using are confusing. What terms am I, if I'm saying anything that's in particular confusing, you got to let me know what those are so that I can break those down even further. Okay. But when I'm talking about mail merge, when I'm talking about a field, I'm basically just talking about a space that Word can insert information. I hope that makes a little bit more sense. And so one thing I can do is if I want to insert a field into my document, this is kind of a goofy way of doing things, but you see this is called the ribbon, and I'm right now, I clicked on insert. So let me make sure that my cursor is lit up. So I clicked on this insert button right here. And then it brings up all these other things from on the left-hand side, cover page, blank page, break. And it's very similar in Word, by the way, on Windows. So you see all these different things in here, but you see this tiny little thing, and this is it says insert field, tiny little thing. So I'm just going to click insert field, and it brings up a wealth of options. Who would have thought that such a small button would do such stuff? So if you see in here, you'll see mail merge. And believe it or not, I can like add all these different things. And the easiest one you want to do is just to add a merge field. And so I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call it Larry's field. And I'm going to click OK. All right. So after all that, I get this dinky little thing down here with these like double carrots around it. But that's like a special field. The fact that it has like the little like carrots around it, that's a real thing. In fact, I can right click on this thing, and this is going to like blow people's mind. Where is it on Word? People are saying it's right here. It's right here. You know, basically what you're doing is I can do something, and I can, if I hit this button here, toggle field codes, you'll see this is the gobbledygook behind the scenes. So there's like actual stuff, like programming stuff going on inside of these little merge fields. And they can do really sophisticated things. Like if you see up here, it says if madam.custom fee arrangement equals hourly, then print this or print that. Like you can actually do if then else statements. Now, this is where I'm going to lose a lot of people. I get that. I apologize in advance. So, but remember, there's a lot of different like ability levels on this webinar. And what I want to try and do here is I want to try and show you, like, not only can you insert information into a Word document, but you can do conditional inserts into these documents. So it's really remarkable how much power you really have here. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, who cares? Why do I need to do any of this stuff at all? Like, why is it important? What kind of benefits am I going to get from a mail merge? Well, let me show you how powerful it can be, because imagine getting rid of like a lot of the work that you have to do. I mean, already if you're doing like trust and estates and those kind of documents where you have to produce those kind of things all the time, and there might be conditions based on this or that, you can kind of see how this would help, right? So what I'm going to show you now is what happens, how you insert information into one of these files, right? So let's go take a look at that. So we're going to use Rocketmatter because Rocketmatter is a big database of legal information. And what I want to do is I want to merge the information from my legal practice management software into my Word document. So let's take a look at that. All right. Oh, I have LegalFuel up. Free advertisement, LegalFuel, incredible resource, amazing document library. Check it out if you want to. Okay. So I have here a matter, a power of attorney matter. Let's go back here. It's for Abigail Simon. And if I click on power of attorney matter, so now I'm in the product and I'm going to look at the data that we're going to be merging, right? So if I look in here, right, we have all sorts of information. We have client home address, so on and so forth. We have this field here, fee arrangement, recurring, okay? You know, it's just a data field in a database to manage my law firm that can be either like hourly, recurring, or flat fee, right? Now, on going back, remember my document that said that if the matter.custom like fee arrangement is hourly, print this. If it's recurring, print that. So what happens if we combine these things? So let's go to add new merge document, and it's and basically it's going to operate. I uploaded that same merge document in from Word, the fee agreement, into Rocketmatter, and it's going to combine it with the data from my matter, and it's going to spit out this result. The attorney's fees in this matter will be set at a recurring fee of $2,500. Okay, and it's doing that because it's doing that mail merge condition. Let me show you another example. Let's do another mail merge document. Let's merge, and I'll show you which document I want to show you here. So I created a document for today's webinar. This Florida Powerball, this one right here. Now, this is big, nasty looking document. I haven't like styled it up the way that I could make it all pretty, but look at this. I.client name, client.last name. All these things are merge fields. All these things are just like waiting for like information to be like stuffed into this document, right? So this is just a, this document is uploaded into Rocketmatter, okay? So if I go into add new merge document, and by the way, the way that this works, the one thing about matter documents and templates and things like that is usually, and especially if your head's starting to hurt you, the one thing I want you to keep in mind is usually the heavy lifting happens up front. The heavy lifting is like when you have to design the document, or when you have to work with the document, or when you have to insert the merge field, doing things like that. But once you have it up and running, then it's super easy. So that Florida Power of Attorney document is in here, is in Rocketmatter. I uploaded it to Rocketmatter. You can see it here. And I'm going to click that document. I'm going to click next. And what it's going to do is it's going to take all the data in Rocketmatter, in that matter, and it's going to merge it into those fields. So you get to this place where, you know, our firms that use this quite a bit, it takes them absolutely no time to create these documents. And then as they move, and it affects their revenues, because as they move from like hourly arrangements to more like flat fee arrangements, then they're just able to produce more and more work, and they're able to generate more and more revenue. And they don't have to sacrifice a lot of times people don't want to become more efficient because it reduces their like hours that they're billing. But when they move to flat fees, then all of a sudden they're making all this much more money. So it has a net effect on things like that. So that's a little bit about how this kind of thing works. Now, if you take it to the next extreme, and you have if you have like a form on your website where people can enter form information, it then goes into your database and then merges with your documents. Now you're starting to have these like completely automated flows where, you know, you're taking hours of work out of the equation. Somebody said, can merge fields read data from Excel or Access? Yes. Yeah, they absolutely can. There's basically There, all those merge fields are placeholder fields to be able to merge in with information. And one of the easiest ways to get started is to try and play around with Excel. And you have certain columns that do certain things, and each row would correspond to another document. And Lisa just posted in the chat link how to be able to take a look at that. So that's a great way to get started. I think it's a fundamental tool to get your arms around. I think mail merging is for document professionals is huge. It's not as challenging as you think, but it really streamlines your automations, and it may give you a little bit of agita looking at me doing all this kind of stuff, but it is so worth taking a little bit of time. Even if I think, you spend like 20 minutes and a half an hour fiddling around with it, I think you do a great job. Okay. Lisa, do we have any questions before we kind of like round out the hour?
Let's see. We've got a ton of questions.
Yeah, it's a lot about the merge stuff and so on and so forth. So some of this is just practice. You got to get in there.
One of the very important questions is conversion between Word and WordPerfect.
Oh my. I don't know if I have a lot to say on that. I've used WordPerfect like once, like 10 or 15 years ago. So I am definitely not the expert on that one. What is the actual question? Like how to use it or how to move from one to the other?
There have been a lot of questions regarding the formatting when moving from old WordPerfect files to Microsoft Word.
Well, okay. That is something that I'm just not familiar with. I can't help you there. I apologize about that. I have seen WordPerfect before, though. I know it does exist. Okay, let's see what all we have left.
In terms of WordPerfect, I do suggest that if you take a look, if you Google it, there are certain sites that can convert WordPerfect files to Word. I know that it seems confusing because, it seems like it would transfer over quite nicely. But in certain cases, you may have to actually have a conversion tool to convert from WordPerfect to Word. From what I've just Googled.
We actually covered a lot of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. And I mean, I think we were able to do that because we really just focused mostly on template styles and mail merge a little bit. The one thing I'll show, because I'll just kind of like show how this works inside of in Word, but let's see here. I want to show you this. Okay, so this is Word inside of a browser, and it kind of looks like a Fisher Price version of what we've been looking at for the past hour, but it's pretty similar. So like you have the formatting and you have these like navigational elements here. You have the formatting elements on the left. You have styles, right? And you can get a little styles pane going on, right? So you have all this kind of stuff in there. So it is pretty powerful. And you can keep typing and typing. And I mean, if you really enjoyed using Google Docs and you're now on Office 365, this is worth taking a look. Also, if you want to like maybe fire up a Chromebook, you can get a Chromebook for like $300 or $400, and you have a full kind of like Microsoft machine now, which is great. The other information is that we have because you're using your practice management software all day long, we built a plugin to Word, right? So what you can do is you can, let's call this something else. Larry's Doc 1, and we can associate that with a matter in my system. And this goes out to Rocketmatter and pulls the matter information down. I can pull in a user. And if I want, I can like let this thing run. I can like run a timer or whatever, and I can bill for it and do all that kind of stuff. And then this information eventually the document ends up saved in Rocketmatter, and the billable information can then go on to the invoice. So you have the document and the billable time information saved. So saving billable information. So that's another way that you can kind of use Word with like in a law firm context, right? You click save and it like saves it right up. I'm using also a specific browser called, and this is a little strange, called Edge, Microsoft Edge. and it is the it is like basically Microsoft's browser. So you may remember Internet Explorer. It was considered a disaster by like any kind of like technology people like myself. They came out with this really fast thing called Microsoft Edge, but it is like it's kind of designed to optimize the performance of these Microsoft web-based applications. So it's pretty cool. The one thing I will tell you this is, and I want you to keep this in mind, please, just from software engineer passing this off to non-software engineer, is that if you start opening additional tabs in your browsers and you're opening things like Outlook or Excel or Word and the non-desktop versions, but the browser-based versions in your browsers, you're probably going to have bad browser performance because those things have a huge, each tab in a browser takes up a memory footprint. And those are really heavy programs to be running. So if you are running Microsoft products in your browser, expect that the browser may not run as snappy as you'd like. And by the way, one of my favorite scenes from all time in Zootopia, the sloths from the DMV. We have a promotion going on right now, which is that if you sign up for a Rocketmatter demo and attend a Rocketmatter demo before Friday, March 12th, you get a $100 credit when you sign up. And you can take advantage of that at www.rocketmatter.com/365 webinar. We have all sorts of goodies we're going to be sending out, by the way, over the next week, including like cheat sheets and resources and things like that. So much good information about Microsoft that people can leverage. CLE guys, here we go. Last month, they gave us the wrong number, and we get to throw them under the bus for that. We have the right number. We've confirmed it this time, right, Lisa? We know that it's the right number.
Yes, he double and triple checked it. So hopefully we won't have any issues this month.
Yeah, we got a lot of emails after that one. So it's 4526 is the CLE number. And you get 1 hour of general plus 1 hour of technology credit for this one. So let's, it's 4526, 1 hour general and 1 hour technology. Are we going to be doing Excel next month? Is that what we're going to be doing?
Yep. We are going to be doing Microsoft Excel.
Somebody asked if they need CLE in Nebraska. Can you coordinate it with Nebraska? No, this is free. Do it yourself. Okay, so here we go. Let's pick somebody at random that we can. Do you want to pick the person or do you want me to pick the person, Lisa, that wins the cat thing?
Let's see here. Let's pick the first person that actually sent a document to you. I forget what his name is. Where are you?
All right, I got one for the audiobook. So that's going to go to Stephanie Natha. I don't think I pronounced that correctly, but Stephanie, email Larry at rocketmatter.com and Lisa at rocketmatter.com to claim your audiobook prize.
Awesome. Oh no, I can't find him. Wait, I have his name written down.
Who's the runner-up?
Unlock my iPad. Come on. Let's not take all day. Jacob Rush.
Jacob, you nailed it. All right, so congratulations, Jacob. You get a cat candle. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you again.